The 2014 Ducati TriOptions Cup. We've had 15 races. This one remains. And finally, we have a gap at the top in favour of Dennis Hobbs after Leon Morris became the first of either of the two leaders to suffer a DNF when he crashed in yesterday's race. So Hobbs now has a lead of 7 points over Leon Morris. Martin Up won yesterday's race. He is third in the championship ahead of Rob Guyver, with Darren Fry in fifth place, Sean Neary in sixth, ahead of the leading 848 of Jonathan Railton, and he's ahead of Brown, Fagan and Dave Ferns. 11th place for Mark Cheetham, ahead of Dan Fowler and Ricky Holden. Ross Humphreys lies in 14th place, 2 points further back, ahead of Nicky Wilson, and then Greg and Sean Gilfallen. Louis Dawson in 18th place, ahead of old Dave Heel and Ollie Mann. And the starting grid based on yesterday's race, with Marty Nutt on pole position. Leon Morris, 7 points adrift of his teammate Dennis Hobbs in the championship, is ahead of him on the front row of the grid. Second row, Aaron Brown, Mark Cheetham and Rob Guyver. Third row of the grid, Darren Fry, Greg Gilfallen and Alistair Fagan. Beg your pardon, it was different on the... It's changed. The fourth row of the grid, Sean Neary, Jonathan Railton, Jonathan Railton, Dan Fowler and Ross Humphreys in 12th place. So someone somewhere on my original provisional grid there has disappeared. We're ready to go then with the final race of the series. Marty Nutt was the winner yesterday. His dad Billy would like to see the same today. And Dennis Hobbs' wife Gemma has somehow got to survive on pit wall without the calming influence of Neil Mackenzie to keep her in check, because a charabanc full of relatives and supporters have travelled down from Knockhill to support Dennis Hobbs. He's the second of the blue and white bikes, number 25. And he now leads the championship by 7 points. It's the first time he's led the championship. He got off to a slow start, remember, at Brands Indy and Donington Park. Never won his first race until he got to Knockhill. So he's finally taken the lead in the championship. It's all to play for. This is the race that counts. And a good start off pole for Marty Nutt. A better start for Dennis Hobbs than for little Leon Morris as they went off the line. But Morris does cut his way through and Hobbs gets buried. He gets a couple of second row riders swoop round the outside of him. He doesn't want too many of them to go through because he can't afford to let Morris out of his sight. Marty Nutt leads the way. Leon Morris in second place. Dennis cuts back through to fourth.
And Leon Morris didn't get the best of starts there because he dumped the clutch on his 899 Panigale. The front end jumped up, so he didn't get a smooth, clean start, as did Marty Nutt. But as you said, rightly said, Dennis Hobbs definitely got bogged down in the bunch there.
So Marty Nutt leads the way. Marty Nutt riding number one, the 2013 champion, riding for Ducati Coventry JHP Racing. Second place for Leon Morris. It's Darren Fry who made a bright start, but here comes the second of the blue and white bikes, Dennis Hobbs, riding for P&H Motorcycles. Carl Cox Motorsport moves through to third place, where of course he can keep an eagle eye on his teammate Leon Morris.
Yeah, that's exactly what he has to do, and if they stopped at this point then he'd be fine, because he really just has to follow him home. All Leon Morris has to do today is try and win. He has to push hard, try and get on the back of Marty Nutt and win the race, but Dennis Hobbs is going to be stalking him for sure. And Leon had a nasty crash yesterday, a little bit of hand injury, so he's not 100% fit.
He looks very keen, though, to tackle yesterday's winner, Marty Nutt. But the big former British super sport riding Irish lad, number one, leads the way as Dennis tries to outbrake Leon Morris, and does so as they drop into the right-hander. And
quite easily as well, look quite comfortable there. Leon's obviously trying hard, but a little bit sort of tiptoeing through there, through the left hand of the loop as they head round onto the Wellington Straight.
That's where he crashed yesterday, was it?
Yeah, he did, just going in there. Dennis had ran wide at Club Corner. Leon had got into the lead, pushing hard in really tricky, greasy conditions, and then Leon just pushed a little bit too hard, lost the front end of his Panigale, and down he went. But already, look at Dennis, he's confident. He's carved through 2 or 3 places and already closed the gap on the leader, Marty Nutt.
So 32-year-old Dennis Hobbs, a former front-runner himself in the British Supersport Championship, finished third in that championship with 3 wins back in 2007. He tails Marty Nutt. There's Leon Morris just ahead of Darren Fry. So a good ride then for Darren Fry, number 3, as we watch Dennis Hobbs gets alongside his pal Marty Nutt, cut inside into Copse Corner. Dennis is riding with absolute buoyancy after yesterday's result.
Yeah, I mean, Leon not really having an answer to him. Races earlier in the year, Leon would be on the back wheel of Dennis Hobbs and go with him, but maybe just not 100% fit, or maybe he's suffering a little bit. Adrenaline normally gets you through that when the flag drops. But he's managing to go with Martinot there, but Dennis is gapping Martinot as well. Oh.
And I think the safety car is out. The safety car is out. So Dennis Hobbs then at the moment has got exactly where he needed to be at this point in the race with the safety car out. So with one lap only complete, he leads the way, but will obviously be able to steady down.
Looks like we lost Rob Guyver. I'm not seeing where Rob Guyver is.
Oh, no, it seems like Schutz and Guyver are the two guys who've gone down.
Schutz is actually a female from Holland, so she's the...
Now, hang on, I was going to say, Dennis looked across there at Leon Morris as if to say, what are you overtaking me for? I thought the safety car's out.
Well, yeah, maybe hadn't seen the flags, but yeah, these guys have to stay line of cern.
The big three at the front in the order: Dennis Hobbs, Marty Nutt and Leon Morris. But the guy who's keeping them company, I'm very impressed with the 42-year-old funeral trade supplier from Rugby, who rides for Ducati Coventry JHP Racing, Darren Fry, riding number 3, a former EMRA 600 and Open champion and Ducati 848 Challenge champion back in 2010.
Fast rider, Darren Fry, and one of the chunkier guys on the grid. We're not joined by the not very chunky Alistair Fagan. He had a crash yesterday and trashed his bike, so he had a few beers last night, and he's not racing today because his bike is not in working order.
That's why it was Fagan who messed up my reading of the grid. Then there we are. Thankfully back on his feet, or at least back on a scooter, is the shaven-headed Rob Guyver. We didn't see where he originally flipped off, but the bike just kept going. He's already up on his feet on the left of picture. How do you manage to do that then? Jump off and just wheel it on its way?
Just slid off at a bit of momentum that picked him up onto his feet. But I didn't like that bike. The front end of that bike is going to be bent. That wasn't good. It's too bad it just didn't slide on its side in the gravel. So not a nice way to end your season, having to repair a bike.
So Rob Guyver, who currently is in 4th position in the championship, I think he's got a pretty safe 4th place ahead of Darren Fry, goes out in a weirdly spectacular style through the complex. Also went down at the same time Nadia Schutz, the lady from the Netherlands, and she was taken off by ambulance to the medical centre. So hence the fact we've got the safety car out. We're on the 3rd lap of 8, so this is going to turn into a kind of 4-lap sprint. So the man in the Darth Vader black there, Leon Morris, is going to have to do an absolutely kind of just a 4-lap dash in which he puts everything on the tarmac to see if he can tear his way through past his teammate.
Safety car is going in. Dennis is in control here, and no one can pass till we've reached the start-finish line. And you can see Dennis is pedal to the metal, if you like, and he's got his head down and going, and he's managed that really well.
So there wasn't any, he just surprised the others with that tactic. Leon Morris looks inside, Marty Nutt into Copse Corner. That works nicely. So Leon Morris, who lives just up the road from Thruxton, down in Hampshire, arrows through past the currently reigning champion, shortly to be deposed champion. And it's now between the two boys at the front who are fighting for the championship on the Carl Cox Motorsport P&H Motorbikes Ducatis. They are the blue and white ones.
And Carl Cox in attendance this weekend. Talked to him yesterday, very enthusiastic, sponsor of the team, doing all sorts, bringing a New Zealand sidecar team to TT next year. So he's got all kinds of motorsports or motorcycle racing projects in hand. These guys have to be careful now. They've had a bit of a cruise round. The temperature's out of the tyres, especially the front one. They have to be really careful and let the tyres get back up to temperature and get maximum grip. You saw Leon got past Marty not there, but Marty passed him easily again as they headed down the hanger straight into Stowe.
So Marty Nutt, 37 years young, for representative called Nutt Travel, his .com, his travel agency business over in Ireland. He gets overtaken once again by Leon Morris, but he holds the inside line crucially through Club Corner. That will do nicely, and he cuts back in front of Leon Morris, and Leon's getting crowded out. Darren Fry having a really good ride, and Jonathan Railton on the 848 has cut round the outside of Darren Fry. Look at this. Where's he getting this from?
Yeah, Jonathan Railton tends to be the best 848, but Mark Cheetham there, number 21, he's having a good run as well. He had a great result yesterday, finishing 4th. So yeah, didn't even know he was 4th in the race. He was actually battling for 3rd and up to 3rd at one point, but Railton is normally the man on the 848.
So the Boss Plumbing Ducati 848 of Huntingdon's Jonathan Railton has actually moved through past Leon Morris into third place.
Yeah, little Leon's better than this normally. He's really struggling with something here. Could be fitness. He's really getting mugged. He always fights back. He's a smaller, lighter rider, and normally that helps in fast racetracks, but it's not working today. He's getting passed all over the place.
You mentioned a hand injury. That it's got to be the reason, I think, hasn't it?
It has to be. Leon's always a front runner. He's got the pace. He's got the skills. He's a past championship winner. He's normally brilliant at Silverstone, so I got to feel sorry for him. Dennis obviously wants to win the championship, but poor old Leon's struggling here.
One thing that can I just refer back to Jonathan Railton? How do you explain the 848 being this fast on a big open track like this?
Well, they're well-sorted bikes. The 899 Panigale is a new bike this year, so the guys are sorting out gearing, they're sorting out suspension. It's quite a different bike. It's moved on. It's a Revier engine, more race-like engine, completely different chassis, and it's a different motorcycle altogether. The 848s are so well-sorted. They still hold some of the lap records, and Railton is a man that can ride them well. He actually tested out Panigale beginning of the year, and he said he's much happier to ride the Bose Plumbing 848, so he's chosen to ride the 848.
He's overtaking the reigning champion as they go into Stowe Corner. Marty Nutt's obviously thinking, I'm not having this. Cuts back across in front of the 848.
On my more modern Panigale. Ultimately, the Panigales will go quicker once they get sorted, but it has been quite a learning season and a developing season for the bike. Marty Nutt wide there as they head through the Vale chicanes, so Jonathan Railton getting a little bit closer.
Jonathan Railton, who made the kind of mistake of mixing National Superstock 1000 racing with this Ducati Championship earlier in the season, realised it wasn't working to his advantage, and decided to focus more again on the Ducati racing. 23 years old, the project engineer for a telecoms company. Number 40 this is, we're talking about. Number 1, Marty Nutt. I like the way, what I love about this game is the fact that all these lads have proper jobs.
As opposed to not proper jobs.
Or as opposed to no jobs at all, except going training during the week.
We're saying Leon Morris is struggling there, but he's just set the fastest first sector of the race, so he's obviously fighting back. He's a gritty little character. He's certainly not going to give up, and maybe just needs that adrenaline to kick in, and then he can move forward.
Once again there, the Bose Plumbing bike goes through, and look at Darren Fry, the big Darren Fry, number 3. He's almost getting round the outside and tucking back inside. Good ride by this chap. Yeah,
Darren hasn't found his form. I mean, he's been a strong rider in the past, and really just a little bit of bad luck, a few offs, a little bit of setup issues, but he's ever cheerful, and it's great to see him back to where we know that he's capable of running, and that is right in the front.
This is his best race of the year. He hasn't bettered 5th place all year. He's been consistent, but not near the front.
I'm surprised. Yeah, he's been a little bit frustrated, and I spoke to him quite a lot, and sometimes he's maybe even doubted whether he's kind of a little bit long in the tooth. But I said, do you want to race? He said, I want to race. I said, well, you just got to make a decision, commit yourself, and go. So maybe he's found a bit of inspiration here, but yeah, he's certainly, I mean, look, he's fighting for a podium position here with the best guys in the championship, so there's no reason to quit, Darren.
And of course he did pack it all together in 2008 after he'd finished 4th in the KTM Super Duke Championship, if I'm allowed to mention that, and he's now just been levered back to 5th place by the much flightier little Leon Morris, who's, oh no, not for long. Darren just whoops back underneath going through Stowe Corner. No.
And jumps
on,
back
boys.
in front. Yeah, Leon had a good charge at him there, and yeah, he's finding a bit of pace now, Leon, so that's good to see. But yeah, he is lighter, he is smaller, which helps with aerodynamics, and it also helps the power to weight ratio. However, the faster changes of direction, he's weaker than the other riders. He can't muscle the bike around as much, so there's pros and cons in being Danny Pedrosa size.
How heavy are these bikes?
These bikes, that's a good question, Jack, and I should know that, but they're upwards of 150 kilos, so they're not like motorcycles. Yeah,
they're a fair bit of weight to manhandle around, aren't they, for that little guy from Stockbridge there in black. So Jonathan Railton then in 2nd place on the 848, ahead of Marty Nutt, and then Leon Morris back past Darren Fry. Sean Neary also having a good ride, number 10 on the riding for the De Poel Netherlands Ducati squad from Lim in Cheshire.
And Dennis just beavering away at the front. He is setting laps that are faster than the guys behind, but he's not setting personal best now. He's maintaining a good solid pace, which would indicate he's thinking about this championship. He can't be taking any chances. He's no need to. He'll be getting his pit board from the P&H guys, and they'll be telling him that the gap's almost 5 seconds. So he's in a very comfortable position.
So as they cross the line now, on to the 7th of 8 laps. Dennis Hobbs has a lead of 4 seconds exactly. Jonathan Railton running in second place. This battle going on behind between Mark Cheetham and I think that was number 149, Ollie Bjorn Plassen from Norway.
Right. He's a guest rider this weekend, yeah. Had a bit of an off yesterday in the wet conditions, but fantastic Scandinavian, very enthusiastic. The actual Norwegian Superbike champion on a Panigale, on the big Panigale. So lots of experience, and first time at Silverstone circuit with limited time. So doing a great job there, just in front of Greg Gilfillan, the Scottish rider here with his brother Sean.
So the Norwegian is number 149, coming down the hanger straight there towards you, having just whipped through. Number 94, Greg Gilfillan, follows him past Mark Cheetham. So Cheetham on the yellow machine loses a couple of places in half a lap.
And Plassen, yeah, the Norwegian guest rider, actually the big crash yesterday. So the JHP guys have been working super hard to repair that bike and get it on the grid, because at one point we didn't think he was going to make it out today.
Greg Gilfillan, number 94, from Crossgates on the GSG Racing Ducati.
And him and his brother Sean, they come together and they've got no helpers. They actually help each other, which is fine. It's great that they're brotherly love there, helping each other in the race weekend, except when it comes to changing tyres on the grid. When the weather's changing, then there's all kinds of confusion ensues and who does what for who. So not ideal. So they're looking for a helper for the future.
Marty not backing himself in there to some effect, but then losing out again as Pete Boast on the more nimble 848 dives through on the inside of him. So Marty's got to make that little extra power count. Well, look at the sweep that he gets. Jonathan Railton onto the Wellington Straight and pulls several bike lengths as they exit Aintree.
He's a classy rider, Railton. Quite a quiet man, but very fit, very strong. He has got a full-time job and a very good job as well. But brilliant rider on the weekend, and saying that he might move on next year. Not sure what he's going to do, but possibly not be in the TriOptions Cup next year.
Because of course he only just lost out on this championship last season, so and then moving on to the 848 this year. He's clearly winning the 848 section.
Well, at one point last year everyone thought he was going to be the runaway winner of the championship, but it all went Marty's way towards the end of the season.
On the final lap then, Dennis Hobbs leads the way and looks a very, very likely champion. God, I say that, look, 316 points to 295 would give him a clear win, with Leon Morris parked up there back at the moment in 5th place. But of course, we had the first and second place motorcycles run out of fuel in the last few hundred yards in the Superstock 600 race earlier today, and one of those guys was about to be crowned champion, but wasn't. So anything can happen. As long as they put plenty of petrol in Dennis Hobbs' Ducati, he should be okay. Here comes number 1, Marty Nutt, once again, plundering that second place back from Jonathan Railton.
You can just see Marty's thinking, I shouldn't be having an 848 passing me here. I'm on the much more modern 899 Panigale. Maybe not Panigale, not quite 100% sorted yet, but yeah, he's sweeps past Jonathan Railton, but I don't think it's over yet. Jonathan Railton's good through the loop section from Abbey through Farm up through the loop, so it's not quite over yet.
This is Dennis Hobbs leading the way behind in the battle for second place between Nutt and Railton. Behind them and holding their pace, the man who supplies coffin interiors to the funeral trade. It's dear Darren Fry having his best potential race result of the season. He's never bettered 5th place so far this year. Here's Marty Nutt skating through inside Railton, but you know that Railton is really efficient going through the loop section here. Though Marty cleverly levers him wide, doesn't let him get inside him, so he can now use that extra power perhaps as he goes through Aintree and onto the Wellington Straight for the final time.
Railton's had a good run through there. He's going to get that vacuum effect. He's going to get slipstream from Marty Nutt. You see Marty Nutt being a bit defensive, getting over to the left-hand side of the track, but he's late on the brakes, and I'm not sure Railton can do anything about him now.
Railton almost overruns Brooklands around the outside. That should be it for Marty Nutt. This, however, is going to be it for the P&H Motorcycles. Carl Cox Racing Ducati of Dennisov. Big Dennis, originally from the capital of Cleveland, Gisborne in North Yorkshire, now up at Knockhill in Scotland, takes victory and the Ducati TriOptions Cup. Second place in the race to Marty Nutt from Jonathan Railton, from Darren Fry, Leon Morris fifth, Sean Neary sixth, Plassen an excellent seventh ahead of Greg Gilfallen, Mark Cheatham the second 848. But you've got to mainly say congratulations to the utterly likeable Dennis Hobbs. He has put himself on top of the box and won the championship, a championship so thoroughly deserved. He's been so close to titles. He's won races in several different categories in the past, but never enjoyed an actual championship. A man who Sean Muir originally put in the Honda CB 500 Cup. He won his third ever meeting at Snetterton, and he's finally won a championship. He won that race ahead of Marty Nutt and Jonathan Railton's sprightly 848, with Darren Fry fourth ahead of Leon Morris. Sean Neary in sixth place. Our Norwegian visitor Plassen an excellent seventh ahead of Greg Gilfallen. The second 848 of Mark Cheatham and Alistair Brown. Aaron Brown, I beg his pardon. Louis Dawson finishes in 11th ahead of Ross Humphries, Sean Gilfallen, and then Holden and Fowler round out the top 15 point scorers. So the championship standings, the final championship standings. These guys don't come out to play in 2 weeks' time at Brands Hatch. So the final race of the season for the Ducatis. Dennis Hobbs eventually with a 21-point advantage over his teammate Leon Morris, with Marty Nutt, last year's champion, in third place. Rob Guyver hangs on to fourth despite a painful exit from that race. Darren Fry an excellent fifth overall after his best result of the year. Jonathan Railton sixth overall on the 848, just 2 points ahead of Sean Neary. Aaron Brown eighth ahead of Alistair Fagan, who sat their race out, and Dave Ferns. 11th place for Mark Cheatham. Dan Fowler in 12th ahead of Ricky Holden, level on 47 points with Ross Humphries. Greg Gilfallen wins the race of the Scottish brothers in 15th overall ahead of Nicky Wilson. Sean Gilfallen in 17th ahead of Louis Dawson, Dave Heel. Where are you, Dave? Come back to us. And Ollie Mann.
Yeah, third place in that race then for Jonathan Railton. How much of a challenge was it with the 848 to get up with those boys today?
Yeah, it's been my aim all season to get up here, so it's nice to do it in the final round. It was great. I mean, it's great battle with Marty. Marty was a great rival last year, so it's good to be battling up with him, and I couldn't quite hold on, but yeah, great race. Really enjoyed it.
Well done, mate. Congratulations.
Cheers, thanks. Just like to thank everyone at Bose Plumbing, Carino Flooring, and all my personal sponsors.
Well done.
Okay.
Second place in that race, Martin, another podium finish for yourself, but unable to stop Dennis in the quest to take that #1 plate, but I'm sure I just saw you there. Congrats.
We were in this situation last year, and I made up for him. You know, our season maybe didn't just go to plan, but came strong here towards the end, and all had a bit of a giggle along the way. Again, there, my mechanic always, Rick, he's 100% clean sheet now for 2 years, and I know there's not many spanner men, even in MotoGP, can probably claim that. So big thanks to Rick for all his work.
Thanks, Marty. Well done on a great season.
Yeah, can I just say, hi, Harry and Freddie, I'll see you in the morning.
Good man. Cheers, Marty. And it's congratulations then for Dennis Hobbs. What a way to win the championship. The final round as well, perfect.
Yeah, I don't know what to say really. The last 3 laps of that race were pretty long. I had a big gap and all kinds of things run through your head. But no, mega for the P&H Motorcycles, Carl Cox team. We've done a mega job all year. We've only been off the podium twice, and being consistent has proved to be the key. Just a big thank you to my sponsors, K-Fur, Ducati Glasgow, Car Masters Glasgow, Knockhill Racing Circuit, everybody that helps out. There's a lot of people behind the scenes. Wife Gemma for all the support. No, it's great. The kids are over there, they're smiling, so it makes it even better.
Few celebrations tonight?
We're going to Walton Towers with the kids, so yeah, we'll be there tomorrow. Maybe have 1 or 2 sherbets later, but no, just make it over the moon. It's been a long time coming. Last time we won a championship was back in 2000, so yeah, over the moon.
Silverstone today, corkscrew tomorrow. Hey, that's what dreams are made of, isn't it?
Something like that, yeah. But no, cheers, thanks a lot.
Thanks, Dennis. Hold on.
Right, bye, cheers.
Dennis Hobbs getting a terrific start. Marty Nutt initially leading the way in the Ducati TriOptions Cup off pole position. Leon Morris stealing second place from his teammate as they went through Copse Corner. And Dennis Hobbs briefly buried in the pack before recovering through into third place past big Darren Fry at the end of the Hanger Straight. And then he made an early move on teammate Leon Morris on the blue and white machine. Leon Morris nursing a hand injury, not able to hang on to his teammate, and Hobbs took the lead at the end of the first lap, a lead he was never to relinquish, eventually opening out a 4-second winning margin. The pace car came out after an accident that took out Rob Guyver and the lady Nadia Schutz from the Netherlands. We hope she's okay. Leon Morris recovered his position a bit during the course of the second half of the race, but all the time Hobbs was leading the way while Marty Nutt was squabbling for that second place. And shortly coming into the action would be the 848 of number 40, Jonathan Railton. He made an audacious move, got past the reigning champion. Darren Fry was also right in there for contention for a rostrum finish. But in the end, it was number 1, Marty Nutt, who was determined to go out in style as the reigning champion. He stormed back through to second place. But for Dennis Hobbs, for Carl Cox Racing P&H Motorcycles, it was victory in the Ducati TriOptions Cup. Third place on the podium then will go to Jonathan Railton from Huntingdon on that 848. I did, of course, from what Dennis Hobbs has just said, I didn't credit him with the fact that he won the Honda Hornet Cup. He won every race, either won or crashed all year, the same year in Y2K as he qualified as an accountant. So, yep, it's 14 years on since his first championship. Here is Marty Nutt stepping onto the podium, the bearded gentleman stepping onto the podium. And Dennis Hobbs comes and steps on top of the podium. Man who's ridden British Super Sport, National Super Stock Racing. Incidentally, third place goes to big Darren Fry there. It's the 848 of Boast Plumbing's, on the left-hand side of picture, Jonathan Railton there, who has taken the lead in the 848 championship. And then here comes the man who doesn't know how much Panigale Ducati weighs. It is the great Neil Mackenzie who presents the trophies. And there is the Hobbs family on the other side of the track. Dennis has 2 kids, his wife Gemma, enjoying the moment as he holds aloft not only the cup for victory at Silverstone, but also his second ever championship. It's only taken 14 years, Dennis. Actually, he was level with James Ellison in the British Superbike Privateers Cup in 2004 when he crashed at Croft, his home circuit, broke his neck, spent 4 weeks in Leeds Hospital. So he's certainly dealt with a lot of injuries in his time, but it's all come good for big Dennis. All 31 years old, 6 foot and 11 stone of him. Time for the champagne then, and if I was Neil Mackenzie, I think I'd be getting out of the way rather rapidly and let these boys just soil one another. I think Dennis is going to get it in the neck, in the once broken neck, good and proper, from the rest of the boys. Well done, Dennis. Congratulations to the Carl Cox P&H team, to Carl Cox himself, who's here to enjoy the moment.
Congratulations once again to Dennis Hobbs. That's 2 titles